Welcome back to DKTV, and today we are talking fantasy baseball. And right now, I want to share with you 5 of the most important guidelines or strategies you can use this year when creating your fantasy baseball lineups. The first one, strikeouts for pitchers, those are king. Strikeouts are the fastest way pitchers can rack up fantasy points during the course of a game, as they're getting 2 points for every strikeout. Now, you can find pitchers with high strikeout potential by looking at their strikeout percentage, which is essentially just the total number of strikeouts they're getting for every batter that they're going to face. Now, generally, you want pitchers with strikeout percentage of at least 20% and preferably higher than that for sure. This is just a great way to target pitchers nightly that are going to have big upside for you and possibly get you those big fantasy totals for sure. Now, the second point I want to talk about is targeting lefty-righty splits. Now, most often, players who bat left-handed are going to do better against pitchers who are right-handed and vice versa. Now, there's exceptions, but generally, this is the rule, and it's the most common thing you'll see from a statistical perspective as well. Now, for some players, the difference in ability against lefties and righties are going to be so extreme that we're going to see some really good value opportunities arise when they're going up against the proper-handed pitchers. Ryan Rayburn of the Cleveland Indians is a great example of one of those players. He's a platoon player. He's never that expensive on DraftKings, or at least he wasn't last year. And because of that, when he went up against left-handed pitchers, he was a great value play. These same pitch principles can also apply to pitchers who often do better against one-handed batter or the other. So for example, targeting a left-handed pitcher who's going up against a lineup full of left-handed batters, that can often be a really good situation for your pitcher as well. So it's a great way to go about choosing batters and hitters, and definitely something you should look at this year when you're creating your lineups. My third point that I want to talk about, stacking. Stack big to score big. Stacking is essentially stacking 2 or more successive batters in the same lineup and then hoping for some correlation scoring. A great example of how stacking works is when you're using 2 or more players and the first 2 guys get on base and then that third guy comes up that you're also using, he hits a home run. Well, you're not only getting the home run and RBI points, but you're also going to get the run scored points too, which creates just big fantasy total opportunities. Stacking has proven very successful in creating bigger, higher upside lineups on DraftKings over the course of time. And now just one quick note, you can only stack 5 players maximum per team on DraftKings. So you do have to diversify your batters a little bit, but this is still a really great way to create high upside lineups. My fourth point that I want to talk about, batting order. Batting order matters. You have to consider where your order is playing in the roster that day. Players higher up in the batting order are going to get more at-bats over the course of time, which is just going to translate to more fantasy points as well. This may not seem like a big deal, but these things really add up. And the more opportunities your batter has at the plate, the more chance he's going to come through with a hit or a home run and get you those fantasy points that you want. This can be a really, really crucial strategy in double ups where you really need that consistent scoring for sure. My last point that I want to talk about, think about where your player is playing. Look at the stadium. Not all baseball parks are created equal. Many of them have very different dimensions and climate factors that are coming into play. A great example is Coors Field in Denver, where you have that thin air, and we saw nearly 1 more home run per game at Coors Field than we did at AT&T Park in San Francisco, which is at sea level and is a really big, tough hitters park. Using park factors to decide between certain hitters or certain pitchers is a great way to get an edge, and it's something you should definitely check out before making your final decisions every night. I hope you have a great baseball season, guys. Make sure you check out the DraftKings playbook after you're done watching this video. There's daily fantasy baseball articles there talking about which players to target, what things you should be looking for, and also check out DraftKings.com/video. It's the new home for DKTV. Tons of great baseball video content there too. My name's Jeff Allworth, guys. You can find me on Twitter as @TheFantasyGrind. I hope you have a great baseball season.